And welcome to Weekly Profit Talk. We do this every single week, as the name implies, on a Wednesday morning, in fact, at 8:30 Mountain Time, be that daylight or standard. I guess that's going to change in about a month or two, isn't it? So happy almost into summer, everyone, and let us talk about the topic at hand. This week is the September Estimated Tax Payment Advisory. We've titled this discussion, the September Estimated Tax Payment Matters. Now, let me go ahead and I'll get into why that is. So let's just begin here. There are 4 estimated tax payment deadlines for the Internal Revenue Service. To go over this briefly, as you know, as an entrepreneur, you don't have anybody withholding your FICA taxes and your federal, and if you're in a income tax state, a state withholding for you, you've got to do this yourself. And the way that we do it is with estimated taxes. The IRS expects this 4 times a year. I try to put a positive spin on it by looking at it this way. If you've got 24 pay periods a year, 24 pay periods a year, you get paid twice a month. You have a withholding from every single one of those. The IRS is treating we entrepreneurs like adults and allowing us to only pay 4 times a year. I know it's still not great. So, but understand that these payments are important and they are necessary. And let's go into a little of the reason why. I've actually made some visual aids for you here. I believe the September payment matters because of 3 big reasons. There are underpayment penalties if you don't pay as you go. So what that means is when I file your taxes for you for tax year 2024 sometime next March, and you haven't done any estimated payments at all, you're just making the money, and we put together a tax return, and voila, you owe about $5 or $6 or $9 or $10,000. That's because you didn't make estimated tax payments through the year, not because you made a mistake with the math or anything. If you have a particularly high level of income and you believe that you are going to make over enough money where you're going to have over $1,000 in tax liability without withholdings, then you do need to make estimated payments. Failure to do that creates underpayment penalties. So that is basically more money that they get. A lot of softwares, including what we use here at my firm, will actually calculate the underpayment penalty and just go ahead, send it in, and it avoids getting one of those number 10 window envelopes 4 weeks later. You owe us more money. Nobody likes to get those. So by making estimated payments, you avoid those underpayment penalties. You keep several hundred or maybe even more than $1,000 in your own pocket. One of the other big ones, number 2 here, there is a principle in accounting where you want to, as closely as possible, match expenses to the period of time within the same period that you made the money in. So, for example, if you get invoices paid in April, if you tie those expenses that created or that resulted from the revenue that you made in April and account for those in April, then you're basically matching the expenses to the revenue. By making 4 estimated tax payments a year, you're more closely tying the expense of your tax to the period of time. So it's kind of like, I think of it as the messy room in your mind analogy. If you kind of keep your clothes picked up and keep a path between your bed and your closet clear, then it's easier to move around. And it's the same thing. It's mental house room. And it just, it feels better to have things straightened out than to have that whoops, what's going on feeling. So, and the last one, what makes September particularly important is the final mid-January payment. That's the one where I like to throw the dart right into the red. I try to hit that bullseye. Because that's going to determine whether or not you get within that $1,000. And I target a window. The ideal window for me and my practice is if I know my client well enough I can actually get that dart between $500 owed or $500 refund, $1,000 window. If I can, every time I nail that, I feel like I won, and it happens most of the time, actually. And it's simply because we sit down and we look at all the variables, and we bug our clients 4 times a year for as much information as possible to give them the best possible data. So, um, by making a good payment in September, you're empowering the January payment and getting as close as possible so that you're really only making estimated tax payments for the final quarter of the year. Recognize it's a 4-month quarter, but it's important. And additionally, for a lot of people, the last couple, 3 months of the year can actually be a high revenue period of time. I'm thinking about medical folks in particular that deal with communicable disease and flu shot season, as it were. Perhaps your practice picks up during those months. So estimating taxes, if you take the profit and loss statement from your business from January to August, that is an 8-month period. That's a nice, easy math problem. So there's 8 months out of 12. All you have to do is multiply that by 1.5 to estimate your income for the year. Then figure out the tax. There are many calculators out there, or of course you can get the kind of help that we provide as well, and divide that estimated tax by 1.5. Subtract whatever you paid in April and June, and then of that remainder, divide it in 2 because you have January coming as well. And that's a quick and dirty way to do that. So the estimated tax payment is on Monday the 16th, simply because the deadline of the 15th falls on a weekend. They always move it up to the next day. So congratulations, you got 1 extra day to work on it. So today's the 11th. If you're watching this and you haven't done an estimated tax payment calculation yet, now's the time. By the way, I did not put directions for that here, but if you go to IRS Direct Pay in your search engine and bring up the irs.gov site that has a blue Make a Payment button, just do it like that. It's very simple. And of course, I'm not expecting you to round that down. They won't take cents amounts anyway. Ideally, my estimated tax payments usually round up to whole hundreds amounts. So you may hear some wisdom. I'm going to close on something here where you really only had to make 90% of the tax payments for the current year that you're in, or 100% of the tax that you had last year, if that is lower. But I always recommend that you actually estimate tax based on your current circumstances. Don't worry about the 90%. That's their rule. And it's nice to be able to fall within that parameter. At least, it keeps you out of underpayment penalty. But always do your calculations on 100% because that's the true nature of the expense. So this is make some form of advice for people 4 times a year. This is September's. The September estimated tax payment really does matter, and it needs to be made on the 16th. If you get that calculated today, by the way, you go to IRS Direct Pay, they will actually let you schedule the payment. So let's say today's the 11th, for example, and you go in there and you schedule it. It'll ask you what day you want it to be withdrawn from your bank account. Choose the 16th. Hang on to your money to the last possible day. That's always good advice for any of your fiscal activities. You'll notice that major companies wait until the very last minute to pay you back. That's actually a fiscal strategy because the longer they have the money, the more potential earning power it has, be it in savings or other investments. Same thing here. You should always make your credit card automatic payments and this payment as well on the day before or the day of its actual due date. And keep that room in your mind clean. So with that, we hope you're winding up a fantastic summer. I guess a week from the 16th, I'm just looking at that. Add 7 is the 23rd. I believe that's the fall equinox. So pumpkin spice and fall leaf change time is coming soon. And that's my favorite time of year. So I hope it is for you as well. And you've had a great summer so far. With that, have an amazing day. and fantastic weekend. And if you do have a chance, do something randomly kind for a stranger. So with that, so long, and we will